This morning, New York State Assembly member Alex Bores unveiling his plan to regulate AI, which includes a pitch to nationalize New York's RAISE Act. Both Bores and the RAISE Act have garnered national attention in the last year after a pro-AI super PAC supported by OpenAI President Greg Brockman, Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale, and tech firm Andreessen Horowitz poured millions into opposing the legislation and preventing Mr. Bores from winning the congressional race for New York Representative Jerry Nadler's seat. Joining us now is Assembly member Alex Bores. All that aside, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? What do you want to do that is enraging these rich and powerful tech gurus so much?
I want to give Americans a say in AI. It's as simple as that. Most Americans are pro-innovation and pro-AI, but they think there need to be some guardrails. It's moving incredibly quickly. They're seeing impacts on their kids, on their job, on the environment, and they think government should have a say. And while lots of people are talking about what to do in AI, I'm the only one that's actually delivered a bill.
What do you want to do? What would be the Alex Bores Georgia Tech master's degree plan for AI?
Yeah, first Democrat elected in New York State at any level with a degree in AI. I talk about protecting kids, using AI when it can be helpful as a personalized teacher, but also looking at the effect of chatbots on kids. I look at the workplace. I look at the threats to democracy, how we can regulate deepfakes in order to fix things. It's an 8-point plan focused on making sure that AI benefits the many and not just the few.
It's in the specific ways where we've seen harms like I don't want to use the word encouraging, the suicides that have happened, those kinds of areas, things where there's deepfakes. It feels like there's obvious areas where the law could step in and play a role.
Absolutely.
But even there, my concern, I think the concern of a lot of people, I want us to have the best AI models. I want to wake up every day like I'm doing right now and go, wow, Gemini, and wow this and wow that.
Yeah.
How do you make sure, especially we're such early innings, that you're targeting the specific harms and not kind of like hampering the overall pace of innovation?
Yeah, it's not simple, it's not easy. It requires nuance and diving into the details. And the last part of the plan is about keeping America competitive. It's investing in government capacity to expedite research the same way we've done in the state of New York with Empire AI, where we built our own data cluster so that our researchers can advance the science.
Who are your researchers? You mean like
just in New York State at universities. So New York State put in $400 million to establish our own compute cluster so that the cost of research in the state go down and grants that our professors get, our universities get, can go further. We should be doing that same thing and investing in the capacity at the federal level as well.
Alex, help me out here, because AI seems to me to be one of the great democratizations of knowledge and computing capacity.
Yeah.
Right? People are sitting at their desks now who never even understood what a line of code was, telling AI to write code and make me an app.
It's amazing.
You can do that. And there's this concept out there of the person with the a billion-dollar company with one employee. So is your concern here, is part of your bill part of an effort to make sure that it remains diffuse and available to everybody? And is the opposition, do you think, part of a process of trying to make sure it's not available to everyone?
Yeah, the opposition is trying to keep power concentrated and make sure that the American people can't put standards on it. That's what the real opposition is. The pushback is not from a lot of the ideas, many of which are supported by even the people who are opposing me. It's the idea that you would pass any regulation at all in this space.
Could you give us one example of something you can do now but could not do in your bill?
That you can do now, but yeah.
But your bill would regularly keep you from doing it.
Sell a chatbot to kids that is intended to elicit a romantic connection.
Is that going on?
Why would
now?
they do that?
Because it makes money.
Of course. I mean, you have fines in here, like $1 million. So what is it specifically that what this would effectively do is bring some of these large language models under regulation, and that broad sense of occurrence understandably concerns people. So how do you make sure that your chatbot is not soliciting minors and maybe fining them for that behavior, while still not making these companies feel like they are, in a broader way, quote unquote, being regulated?
Yeah, you can definitely take regulation and do it in a clumsy way that backfires more than it's meant to help. And the debate about kids is one of the key ones. You think about age verification. You could do that where it's based on the device itself, where there's a scan of an ID, and then you delete that data, and you have a token that can be referenced by any app in a privacy-preserving way that doesn't put more burden on companies. Or you could require every single company to scan every single license in a way that's bad. So when you say age verification, some people will be out there saying that's an awful idea. They're assuming the worst version of it. But there are good technical advances that have been made that allow us to do much more than we could have even 2
because it's
years
moving
ago.
too fast, right? I mean, for example, the first you represent Manhattan, parts of Manhattan.
Yes.
First person to get killed by a car, run over by a car, was in 1899 on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Car was going 2 miles an hour. I don't know how it hit the person or what happened, but the point is that it took about 30 years for there to be real laws in place around traffic after that.
Yep.
It took that long. AI is doubling in compute capacity every year. It's doubling in speed every couple of months. Is now the time? If we don't do this now, is there
we might not get the chance.
We might not get the chance.
Right?
It's too pervasive.
Every 7 months, AI is doubling the capacity of what it can do.
Every 7 months?
Yes. It used to be you would talk about Moore's Law, and every 18 months you would have an increase in compute. AI is 7 months. Recently, it's going closer to 4 months.
Alex, the people who oppose a bill like this are going to say, look, one of the reasons why America is in front of Europe and other parts of the world is because we have been light on regulation of tech. How do you respond to that?
I think the market actually currently is undervaluing trustworthiness of AI. The AI that will win in the long term will be trustworthy AI. And so it's easy for all of us to say, we don't want to use Chinese AI. That's obvious. If you're in Europe, why do you want to use American AI? People want there to be verification. They want to know that the AI has been tested, that it has gone through extensive checks. And often the research into safety ends up increasing capabilities more than anything else. You think of reinforcement learning with human feedback that came out of the safety community. You think of deep research and chain of thought reasoning that came out of the safety community. So I think if you're focused on winning, there's a role in government to make sure, hey, there's this other part the market's undervaluing in the short term. We should be encouraging safety.
Are you running for the seat this fall? Is that this fall? So you are for Nadler's seat?
For Jerry Nadler's seat, yep.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I will say this real quick. More and more I'm hearing the people inside of AI coming out are the ones arguing for the regulation and warning.
Well, it's like the guy that just quit Anthropic or whatever it was like to go write poetry for a living.
The people who know.
Well, I want to be rich enough one day that I can write poetry for a living.
Yes.
Wouldn't you know it?
Poets coming out of this would be a great
You're rich enough now, Brian. You just don't know it.
And I'm really proud to have support from a lot of the employees at these companies.
Nobody's
they are the ones,
poor
the
who has
engineers.
friends, Steve. Nobody's poor who has friends.